wanted to use
Really sure.
The lesson, it seems to me, for those who believe that the conjugal conception of marriage is true and good, and who wish to protect the rights of our faithful and our institutions, our churches, our schools, our hospitals, our social service providers, to honor that belief in carrying out their vocations and missions, is that there is no alternative to winning the battle in the public square over the legal definition of marriage, however dark and even hopeless the cause looks. And even if the horizon, the time horizon, is 50 or 100 years. The grand bargain is an illusion that we should long ago have dismissed from our minds. And even if we won't, it will soon be blasted out of our minds by the harsh realities that will now descend upon dissenters from the new liberal orthodoxy. There will be more Brendan Ikes, more people who are made examples of, so that others, fearful of the consequences for their livelihoods and relationships, won't even consider expressing dissent. Indeed, the ultimate goal of punishing the public dissenters is to marginalize and stigmatize dissent itself to the point at which people will be deterred even from entertaining those beliefs in the privacy of their own minds. Taking a page from the second chapter of John Stuart Mill's famous essay on liberty, we might say that political correctness, not a term he knew, but one that his concept of restrictions on thought and discussion really covers. We might take a page from Mill and say, political correctness is bad not simply because it shuts down speech, but even more importantly, it's bad because it shuts down thought. And that's why it has to be defeated. Now, of course, with sexual liberalism now so powerfully entrenched in the established institutions of the elite sector of the culture and fully embraced by the President of the United States and the Democratic Party and the courts and funded by innumerable hedge fund billionaires and corporate titans, some view, many view, the defense of marriage as a lost cause. That's particularly true in the wake of the recent shameful decision of the Supreme Court of the United States to let the lower federal courts impose same-sex marriage throughout the country without our robed masters in the marble temple taking responsibility for the preposterous claim that Americans actually redefined marriage in 1868 when they ratified the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, without so much as the slightest awareness, of course, that they were or even might be doing that. Anyway, I think that defeatism, though understandable in our current grim condition, is another mistake, one that Diane would have warned us against, one that sexual liberals have every reason to encourage their opponents to make and ample resources to promote. We've all heard the argument or taunt, the acceptance of same-sex marriage on a national scale is inevitable, it's a done deal, you had better get on the right side of history, lest you be remembered in the company of Orville Faubus. As if history, this impersonal sequence of events, had sides and could cast a judgment. That view of history is progressivism's vain and futile effort to replace God, who is the judge of history. Now, of course, this kind of line was taken by the pro-abortion forces in the wake of Roe against Wade. We were told in the mid-70s that abortion was inevitable. It could not be stopped. Once accepted, written into law, made a constitutional right, there would be no turning back. Opposition to it would die out. Abortion would be assimilated into American life. Pretty soon it would not even be an issue in our politics. I can remember that so well from the 1970s when I myself was a college student. And many demoralized pro-lifers, I remember this too, initially believed it. But it didn't turn out that way, did it? A greater percentage of Americans are pro-life today than in the 70s, and young people are more pro-life than people of their parents' generation. The idea promoted by the abortion lobby when their cause seemed to be a juggernaut, as same-sex marriage is today, that the American people will inevitably accept abortion as a matter of women's rights and social hygiene, proved spectacularly false.